Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. We have completed the chapter, The Making of the National Movement, and today we will be doing some extra questions. We have started doing extra questions in the previous class, and we will continue with that. You know? So, the first question is when when was the Indian National Congress when was the Indian National Congress established? So it was established in December 1885. And then next question, how many delegates from all over the country how many delegates from all over the country met at Bombay in how many delegates from all over the country met at Bombay in December 1885? So how many? 72. You know? And then next question, name so this is the name some early leaders of name some early leaders of the Congress. So you know very well Dadabhai Naoroji, Firoza Mehta, Badruddin Tayyabji, W.C. Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee, Ramesh Chandra Dutt, S. Subramaniam Iyer. These were the important early leaders of the Congress. Okay, so we have done this, and now we have next question. The next question is so the question is in the first 20 years Congress was moderate. Congress was moderate in its objectives and methods. explain the statement. In the first 20 years, Congress was moderate in its objectives and methods. Explain the statement. So, what you will write in answer? So, you will write that in the first 20 years, Congress was moderate in its objective and methods. This sentence will be complete. Then you will write इसके बाद आप पॉइंट दे दोगे. फर्स्ट पॉइंट, द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ कांग्रेस वॉज नॉट टू रिमूव द ब्रिटिश रूल फ्रॉम इंडिया but its objective was to bring changes in the British government according to the need and demand of the people of India. Okay, then the second point is the Congress demanded a greater voice for Indians in the government and in administration. Second point. Okay, third point, the Congress wanted, it be, you can use the pronoun it also, it wanted the legislative councils to be made more representative, given more power and introduced in provinces where none existed. Okay, and then next point is it demanded that Indians be placed in higher position in the government. Okay, and the next point you can give that it called for civil service examination to be held in India as well, not just in London. So these are the points which prove that Congress was liberal in its moderate in its objective and methods in its in its first 20 years, you can say. Okay, and now we have next question. The next question is what economic issues were raised by Congress in its early years of establishment? What economic issues were raised by Congress in its early years of establishment? So you will write the economic issues which were raised by Congress in its early years of establishment are following. The first point you will give that first point, the Congress decided that the British rule had led to poverty and famines in India. No, you write down yes. Congress declared that the British rule had led to poverty and famine, increase in the land revenue, had impoverished peasants and zamindars, and export of grains to Europe had created food shortage. Okay, so this is your most important point. ठीक है, पहला point. And then the second point is the Congress demanded reduction of revenue, cut in military expenditure and more funds for irrigation. Okay, so this is your answer. And now we see the next question. The next question is, explain the views and policies of radicals in Congress. Explain the views and policies of radicals in Congress. So you will write down the answer that by 1890s, within Congress, some leaders started to be radical. Within Congress, some leaders started to be radical. इसके बाद आप फर्स्ट पॉइंट दोगे. इन बंगाल, Maharashtra and Punjab. Okay, in Bengal, Maharashtra and Punjab, leaders such as Bipin Chandra Pal, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Lala Lajpat Rai started to explore radical objectives and methods. Okay, then next point, these radical leaders criticized the moderates for their politics of prayers and emphasized the importance of self-reliance and constructive work. And then next point is, they argued that people must rely on their own strength, not on the good intentions of the government. Okay, so these are the views and policies of the radicals. Lal, Bal, Pal, I told you, so remember accordingly. And then we have next question. Who raised the slogan freedom is my birthright and I shall have it? And so, who raised the slogan freedom is my birthright and I shall have it? This slogan was raised by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Okay, so your answer is Bal Gangadhar Tilak. And now we have next question. When was Bengal partitioned? And who was the viceroy at that time? And who So when was Bengal partitioned and who was the Viceroy of India at that time? So Bengal was partitioned in the year 1905 and at that time who was Viceroy? Viceroy was this Curzon, Lord Curzon. Okay, and now we have next question, like what is Swadeshi movement? Okay. What was Swadeshi movement? So you will write the answer that the struggle of people, the struggle of people against the partition of Bengal in 1905 is known as Swadeshi movement. The struggle of people against the partition of Bengal in 1905 is came to be known as Swadeshi movement. That's all. Now that second point, this will be your first point. In second point you will write at large public meetings and demonstrations were organized and new methods of mass protest developed. Okay, and now we have next question. What is Vande Mataram movement? What is Vande Mataram? Movement. So the movement, the Swadeshi movement in Andhra Pradesh, the Swadeshi movement in Andhra Pradesh was known as the Vande Mataram movement. Okay, स्वदेशी मूवमेंट ही जब आंध्रा पहुंचता है तो उसको वंदे मातरम मूवमेंट के नाम से जाना जाता है. ओके, एंड नाउ वी सी दैट now we have some other questions. When was the Congress? When was the Congress split? Right? In 1907, the Congress was Congress split, right? And why this split was there? Why was the Congress split? So why was the Congress split? You will write the answer that the moderates were opposed to the use of boycott, which was very much popular among the radicals. So next point आप लिखोगे कि the moderates felt that there is no need to use of force, and this is your answer. Okay, And now we have next question. When the Congress was reunited? When the Congress was when the it was in 1900. The Congress was reunited in 1915. In December 1915, the Congress was reunited. Okay, and then Lucknow Pact. What was Lucknow Pact? Lucknow Pact. What was Lucknow Pact? So you will write the answer that in 1916 the Congress and the Muslim League signed historic Lucknow Pact and decided to work together for representative government in the country. Okay, this is your answer. So we have done for today, and now we will meet in the next class.